and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, I know, but I'm finally able to sit down and film this video. As many of you know, Ross and I have been to Egypt in February, and there were so many things that I noticed that they did there, or just things that I noticed in general, that through all of my research that I did before going to Egypt, I didn't know. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to sit down and make a video about things that you should know before going to Egypt. If you are at all interested in what I have been up to this past few months, as I have not been posting videos, just wait till the end. I will give you guys an update. But right now, let's just get on into it. Number one, I would say this is a very, very common question, at least for me as a woman, as to what is acceptable to wear there for clothing. So I was so nervous going to Egypt because I didn't know how people would perceive what I was wearing, if people were going to judge me on what I was wearing, and since I'm a very Western person, I have like lots of short shorts, spaghetti strap tank tops, things like that. So what I did do is I bought this scarf at just the Mapleview Mall right by my house, and I wore this almost every day, not just to cover up my shoulders or my head or whatever, but because it was actually kind of cold when we were there. So this kind of doubled as a source of heat, but keep that in mind, you don't need a scarf. I just found it really helpful, and I think it's kind of fashionable too. There isn't any regulations on what you have to and have to not wear. You can wear whatever you want, but I did find that most people covered up their shoulders. Like if I wore a tank top that day, I would just put the scarf around my shoulders and then it was fine. And I didn't wear any short shorts, though honestly it wasn't very hot when we were there, so that wasn't an issue. But I did wear a few things that were right above my knee, but not anything any shorter than that. So I wore like a dress. I bought these like Floyd pants at Dynamite, which I thought looked really nice in the desert anyways, and they kept me cool, things like that. But honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about clothing. It didn't seem like that was a big of an issue as I was building it up in my head. Number two, visas. Most countries will need a visa if you are traveling to Egypt. I would suggest getting one ahead of time, because if you don't, you can get one at the airport, but you have to go into a separate line, pick up your visa, and you have to pay in American money. I don't know why, but since we're Canadians and we don't generally just have American money, we figured we should pick one up ahead of time. And it was super easy. You just go to the tourism Egyptian website or whatever it was. Ross did it. But all we had to do is put in our information, take a picture of our passport, upload it, and then they emailed us our visas, and it was super easy, and it cost, I think it was like $50 US. I don't know, you have to pay in US money. They really like US money there. I'm not really sure why, but super easy. I would definitely suggest getting it ahead of time to avoid an extra line. Number three, hotels. So hotels are a little bit different in Egypt than they are in Canada or in America, in the way that the star systems work. So Ross and I booked our hotels through our travel agency. We went through EMO, and so we got to choose between 4-star hotels, 5-star hotels, or 3-star hotel. And we figured, well, we're not that bougie. We don't need a 5-star hotel. But let me tell you, the 4-star hotels are not really 4-star hotels if you compare them to the ones in Canada. 4-star hotels in Canada are really, really nice, but these ones that we stayed at were not. They were dirty, customer service wasn't very good, and breakfasts weren't very good. I would suggest, if you do have the money, to upgrade to a 5-star hotel yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you have the extra money, I would suggest to do that. Number 4, so now that you've gone through customs and you're in Egypt, you're gonna have to get a ride to your hotel. Whether that's someone's picking you up, or it's a taxi, or an Uber. They have Uber in Cairo, which we used a couple times, and it's so much cheaper than a taxi, and Ubers there are insanely cheap, like a couple of dollars to go like across town. It's so worth it. And that brings me to number 6, which is the driving there is insane. Like nothing I have ever seen before. If you've never been to a country like Egypt before, they have lines on the road, but they don't follow the lines. They go wherever they want, and to like change lanes, they'll just like honk at the person next to them so the person knows that they're there, and then I don't even know. And plus, I don't think that there's like sorry, I think Ross is playing music. Just a second. Sorry about that, we got that figured out. So yeah, we were picked up by the company we booked our tour through, and I clocked him going 180 kilometers an hour at one point. I don't think they have speed limits. It's honestly, driving there is so crazy. I would not suggest trying to drive at all. Like, and brings me to my next point, crossing the street. There's like hardly any lights or stop signs or any kind of traffic rules. So honestly, if you have to cross the street, you kind of look for a small patch in the road where there's no cars coming, and you just walk into traffic. The first time we did it, I was so scared, but you kind of get used to it. It's just kind of like real life Frogger, getting from one side to the other. Police check stops. I didn't notice a lot in Cairo, but when we were in Aswan, there was so many police check stops. So you would drive into an area, and then you would have to stop, and then they would be speaking in Arabic, our driver, to the security person or the police person or whoever they were. And it happened quite a few times, and so we finally asked, like, what are you guys talking about? And they stopped them to ask them what the language was that we speak and where we're from. I don't know why they're keeping track of things like that, but there were so many like that. And in Aswan, there's these 2 dams. The old dam, if you have to cross it, you have to stop the vehicle and unlatch your trunk, and the police look in your trunk, and then they close it, and then you can keep going. It's very bizarre, but they do it obviously for security reasons, but I just thought that I should mention it because it is something that doesn't happen over here. Speaking of check stops, going through airports, there are multiple check stops. So generally there's just the one security that you go through and then you're done. But we've been in multiple different airports within Egypt because we went to the 3 different major cities. Well, 3 of them, not the 3. And there's generally 3 security checkpoints, I think. So the first time we saw that, we were really confused because when we went to Cairo airport to fly to Luxor the first time, just to even get into the airport, you have to go through security, and they scan your bag, and then you walk a couple feet, and then there's another security where they scan your bag and they scan you. And so like, what the heck? I don't understand why there's multiple. But they don't even really look that well. Like, Ross brought a huge bottle of water through security and they didn't even notice. So there's lots more of them, but they're more lax. I'm not really sure. So now that you're driving around Egypt, you'll know that it's very dirty. It's very dusty. I think that's mostly because they're in a desert, and there's also lots of garbage everywhere. But at least that we noticed in the season that we went. I don't know if it's like that all the time, but when we went, it was very dirty. It's like even in like the touristy areas. But I just thought I would mention that just because it was something I noticed. The next point I noticed is there is a lot of smokers. Like, almost everybody smokes. And like, over here in Canada, smoking is kind of on a decline. Like, not a lot of people do it anymore, but there, like, everybody smokes. So if you're a smoker, you'll fit right in. One thing that I actually really liked about Egypt is there is cats and dogs everywhere. Like, they're just roaming the streets. I don't think they belong to anybody. I think they're just random cats and dogs. But at one point, Ross and I were sitting on a patio at a restaurant and a cat just came up and sat with us, and it was so tame. We pet it and it was just relaxing, and we gave it a little bit of our food. It was awesome. So now I kind of want to get into the touristy things of Egypt. So the first thing I want to notice is, do not worry about the language barrier if you speak English. There is English everywhere. Most of them learn English in school, and like 95% of the signs in Egypt have English on them. And everybody we spoke to spoke at least a little bit of English. Lots of people spoke perfect English. So that was something I worried about, but don't worry about that. They will speak English. Something that I did not know about going to Egypt, and I really wish I did, so I'm telling you guys, is toilet paper. Now, that's not an issue in your hotel room or anything like that, but like restaurants, museums, we went to the Cairo Tower, no toilet paper. And sometimes there'll be somebody standing outside with toilet paper asking for tips so you can have some toilet paper so you can go to the washroom. So I would suggest bringing like one of those little Kleenexes with you, like the travel Kleenexes. Ross and I used lots of those because I kind of like to wipe myself after I go to the washroom, and because I don't want to pay for toilet paper. That's so silly. So I would suggest bringing some with you, because I did not know that was going to be an issue, and it would have been nice to know. Which brings me to my second point. Egyptians want tips for anything. So one example, when Ross and I were going through Cairo airport when we were flying to Luxor, just some random person just like grabbed my suitcase and started walking with it. And at first I thought they were like stealing my stuff, but they weren't running away or anything. They just like asked us where we were going and then took our stuff. And I was confused because I was like, is this person with my tour group? Like, what is this person doing? So he brought us all the way to where the second security stop was, or third one. I can't remember. There's so many security stops. And then I was like, okay, like, can I have my bag back now? And then he wanted a tip. And obviously, like, I didn't even want him to take my bag in the first place. So after that happened to us, like the first time, the second time, where people were just like doing stuff that we didn't even want them to do for tips, Ross and I got very like firm with like no, and wouldn't let them do things that we didn't even want them to do in the first place. So yeah, if people are trying to take your stuff and then ask for tips, just no, just don't let them. That was really annoying, but we got used to it, and it didn't happen to us later on because we knew how to handle the situation. So now you're in a touristy area and you've paid for your ticket and you're able to get inside and see all these amazing architectural things and statues and honestly, so many great things to see. So you want to take a picture of it, but beware, some places will charge you extra if you want to take pictures or video. Some places they're okay with if you want to take pictures on your cell phone, like at the Egyptian Museum. You have to pay extra if you want to take your camera inside, but if you want to take your phone inside, you can take pictures. So I don't honestly know what the difference is, but I never paid once to pay extra to take pictures because that's so silly. Honestly, I would try to like sneak my camera in or sneak my phone in and take a little bit because you've already paid for your ticket. I don't really understand that, but just so you know, if you want to take pictures in some places, you do have to pay extra. And that comes to my last point. Is Egypt safe? Yes and no. 2 months before we went to Egypt, there actually was an attack on some tourists. And if Russ and I would have known about that, we probably would have been more nervous to go to Egypt. We actually found that out from our tour guide who told us about that, and it was right near the pyramids. And the day after we left Egypt, there was another attack right by the bazaar that we were at a couple days earlier, where 2 police officers died. But you have to understand, it's no less safe or more safe than any other country. Did you guys hear about the mosque attack in New Zealand, or the multiple attacks in London, or how the whole world was mourning over Paris and their attacks? And those places are supposed to be safe. So is Egypt safe? Yes. Is it completely safe? No, but no place is completely safe. But I do suggest, if you are interested in Egypt, please go. It was honestly like life-changing. It was so amazing, and I really recommend, if you want to go, please just do it. There's no better time to do it than now. And Egypt is just getting back on its feet too with tourism. Back in 2010, when tourism was at its high, 12% of Egyptians were employed because of tourism. And when the revolution happened, it dropped so significantly that a lot of people didn't have jobs anymore and didn't know how to, live. And so now that it's on the incline again, it's really awesome to see like the economy getting better. And when people are just scared of everything and scared of Egypt because it's unsafe, that's really not fair, because it's not. Anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and got a little bit of insight onto Egypt, and I hope that you guys go. But that's all for me today. And if you have stuck around and you want to know what I've been up to, so I actually just had 3 finals in a row, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this past weekend. So I just finished that semester of school, my winter semester, and then I didn't even have a week off. This is the one weekend I have off, and then next Monday and Tuesday I have class again. I have auditing and tax, and then that's going to be another 4 months, and then after that I'm going to have my diploma and I'm going to be done school. So I'm so excited for that. Oops, my book just dropped. So I just honestly had no time for anything when I was studying for those finals. My first final I think went okay, and then my second final not as much, and then my third final I only got 60% on it because you can only focus on one thing at a time, and oh my goodness. Anyways, so that's over with. I passed all of my classes, and yeah, so starting my last semester. And another thing that is happening that is really exciting is 2 of my best friends from Saskatoon are coming to see me at the end of the month. They haven't booked their flights yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. So that's gonna be really exciting. And then the other thing is that my birthday is next Monday. Guys, I'm gonna be 26 years old. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm so old. I'm gonna look back at this video and be like, girl, you were so young, how dare you say that? But anyways, that's what's been going on with me, and I'll see you guys very soon with the next video. Bye guys.